Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm going to call this meeting of the Harrisonville Board of Aldermen to order. Would you rise and say the pledge with us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Will you roll call, please?
Alderman Davidson.
Present.
Alderman Sarah. Alderman Dorhoff.
Present.
Alderman Franklin.
Present.
Alderman Milner.
Present.
Alderman Reese.
Present.
Alderman Turner.
Present.
Alderman Mills.
Present.
Mayor Bowen.
Present. Thank you. We do have a quorum. And we do have some ceremonial matters this evening. I am honored to, first of all, introduce you to Barbara Neese. Come on up here. So this is a girl who's after my own heart. She is the one that keeps this community center nice and clean for all the staff and all the residents and all the customers that utilize it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you do. I can walk around here and I can do a white glove test and there'd be nothing on my fingers. So thank you very much for all you do. And you've done it for 10 years. So this is your certificate. We show it to you. But they're going to frame it and then give it to you later. Okay? Please give her a round of applause. Come back here. Sorry, Daniel is wearing several hats tonight.
Yeah. Very nice. All right.
That's right.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, and one more. There we go. Great.
Okay,
Perfect.
big fun. And Mr. Darling. Hey, Darling. Is he here? Okay. Well, we will give his certificate to him. He's been with the city for 20 years. And so we'll make sure that he gets his certificate as well. Okay. Now, it's my distinct privilege to introduce you to a lady who's near and dear to all of our hearts, Donna Bouch. Would you come to the front, please? So, Donna Bouch is retiring from the Missouri House of Representatives, not for a choice of her own, but because of term limits. She served us in the Missouri House for 8 years. But you know, service doesn't go away just because you retire from a role. And Donna has been a servant all of her life, and she'll continue to be a servant. And Harrisonville knows her well. She was a teacher in this district. She was a teacher of gifted students. And I'm very proud to say that my granddaughter, our granddaughter, I have to correct myself, was one of her students, Lena Quinlan. And Lena is now preparing to be a teacher of gifted students. She's just about to complete her master's, and she will tell you that she knows a lot of that through this lady that stands beside me. So I felt that because of past 8 years in the Missouri House and how Donna has been there for the city of Harrisonville. She knows the city, she lives in the city, she served on the Board of Aldermen. And so she always represented us in the Missouri House of Representatives. And I just couldn't let that retirement go without us acknowledging her and as a city, thanking her for what she's done for us. So we have a plaque for you. I'll show it to you and then I'm going to read it. It says, with our greatest appreciation presented to Donna Bouch, thank you for many years of dedication and service to the citizens of Harrisonville and the citizens of Missouri House District 33, February 2021. Congratulations. I'm going to ask you to come up here too and be in a photo with her, because I will tell you from personal experience that women who do what we do couldn't do what we do if it weren't for the men behind us. And so I acknowledge you as the man behind Donna, and there stands my precious husband Jerry, who is behind me as well. So congratulations to both of you. Thank you.
One, two, three, and another one. Great.
Yeah, great. All right, moving on then. Mr. Ratliff, did we have any agenda request forms from the public this week?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. I just want to remind the public that if you have an item that you want to discuss with the Board of Aldermen, our process is really very simple. You fill out an agenda request form, which is available on the city's website, and you submit that to the city with whatever your issue or question or concern might be, and then we will address that with you at the next Board of Aldermen meeting. Okay, let's see. Approval of the minutes. At this point, I would ask you, if you have a cell phone, would you please put it on silent so we don't have an interruption? And I'm looking for approval of the minutes of the Board of Aldermen meeting of January 19th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Alderman Milner with a second from Alderman Turner. All in favor of the approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Moving on to the agenda items. First item before us is Council Bill 6.
Council Bill 06 is an ordinance authorizing the city of Harrisonville, Missouri to enter into a lease purchase transaction for the purpose of financing community center improvements and various municipal vehicles and equipment, and authorizing certain documents and actions in connection therewith. First reading, Council Bill 06.
So this is an ordinance tonight. We've already approved the expenditure of funds for renovations to the community center and some vehicles that were approved in the budget. This is just actually the formal making that happen. And I'm just thrilled to know that the interest rate actually came back lower than we had anticipated. It's 1.35%. And I know Ben is on Zoom with us, so I'm going to turn it over to you for explanation to the board. Thank you, Ben.
Sure. Hopefully you guys can hear me. The RFP was released back in December. We had 25 potential investors, 10 of which were being interested in the bid. We let the RFP out on just under $4 million with a combination of parks and communication project, community center projects, and rolling stock leases. The park piece was 4 years, broke out into 4-year maturity. The equipment leases were broken out into 3, 5, and 8-year terms, just like we had planned on within the budget. Funding for the debt service includes general fund, emergency services, water and sewer, community center, and parks, depending on what piece of equipment or project that's being funded. The 3.9 will be drawn in two phases, the first being 2021, and then 2022 will draw down another piece. There's no use in having money outstanding if we're not going to use it right away. So the successful bidder agreed to let us draw that down in a year. It's around 300,000 it will draw down in 22. Of the 5 bids that we received, the ranges for the rates were 1.34 and 1.64%. As the mayor had mentioned, 1.35% is the winning bid. The reason we didn't go with the 1.34 is the fact that they didn't comply with all of our requests, or we wanted to be able to pay the bond off as soon as we could, and they wanted it paid off in 4 years, so we wanted that flexibility. So 1.35 is not a bad rate, not at all, especially in today's economy. So with that, we're requesting approval of the ordinance for the city to enter into a lease purchase agreement with Zion Bank. And they are based out of Utah, with facilities here in Kansas City. And it would be for the financing of the community center improvements in various municipal vehicles and equipment.
And
I believe I had word from you by email this afternoon, Ben, that we would need to do, or should do, both first and second reading on this ordinance this evening, so that we can stay on track and we can take advantage of the interest rate, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Does anyone have questions of Mr. Hart? Yes.
For the other document, correct the Alderman list.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Would you speak into your microphone?
On my page 97 of the document, lists the Alderman doesn't need to be corrected for legality.
97.
It's just updating the Alderman.
Okay. Correct. Thank you for catching that, Alderman Mills. So, Counselor, did you see that?
Yes. We'll just need to change it, update it before we submit it. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Aye, Bill. All right, so this is an ordinance. I'd be looking then for a motion for approval. Yes, I
I make a
apologize.
motion that we move this to second reading.
Second.
I have a motion for Alderman Milner with a second from Alderman Dorhoff to advance Council Bill 60 to its second reading. Roll call, please.
Alderman Mills.
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff.
Aye.
Alderman Milner.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Franklin.
Aye.
Alderman Davidson.
Aye.
Alderman Reese.
Aye.
And Alderman Zaring. Aye.
Thank you. Second reading.
House Bill 06 is an ordinance authorizing the city of Harrisonville, Missouri to enter into a lease purchase transaction for the purpose of financing community center improvements and various municipal vehicles and equipment, and authorizing certain documents and actions in connection therewith. Second reading, House Bill 06.
Counselor, your microphone was not on, but you can turn it on and you need to read that one. So.
My apologies.
And if I could just remind the Alderman, I know we haven't been here for a while, so when you're speaking, turn your microphone on, and then when you're not speaking, turn it off. Thank you. Okay, Counselor.
Council Bill 06 is an ordinance authorizing the city of Harrisonville, Missouri to enter into a lease purchase transaction for the purpose of financing community center improvements and various municipal vehicles and equipment, and authorizing certain documents and actions in connection therewith. Second reading, Council Bill 06.
Thank you.
Alderman Mills.
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff.
Aye.
Alderman Milner.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Franklin.
Aye.
Alderman Davidson.
Aye.
Alderman Reese.
Aye.
Alderman Zaring. Aye.
Thank you. Council Bill 6 becomes ordinance 3528. Council Bill 7.
Council Bill 7 is a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, approving the appointment of Donna Bouch to the TIF Commission.
So you have Ms. Bouch's application and her resume in your packet. And I think you know her well. And I certainly am pleased to recommend her to fill a vacant seat on the TIF Commission. So I'd be entertaining a motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Turner with a second from Alderman Reese. Roll call, please.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Mills,
Aye.
Alderman Zarin.
Aye.
Thank you. Council Bill 7 becomes resolution 2021-06. Donna, congratulations, and thank you for serving your city, and welcome to the TIF Commission. Council Bill 8.
Council Bill 08 is a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, approving the appointment of Charles Hotchkiss to the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
Is Chuck Hotchkiss in the room? I can't see over the podium. Okay. Most of you know Charles, or we know him better as Chuck Hotchkiss. You have his application in your packet. Chuck is a former alderman and served on the TIF Commission in the past, and he is interested in filling a vacancy on the Board of Zoning Adjustments that has been created by Mr. Mills becoming an alderman. So I'm recommending his appointment to the Board of Zoning Adjustment, and I know Mr. Curl will be thrilled. So I entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Dorhoff with a second from Alderman Reese. Roll call, please.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Mills,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Zarin.
Aye.
Thank you. Council Bill 08 becomes resolution 2021-07. Council Bill number 09.
Council Bill 09 is a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, approving the appointment of April McLaughlin as a full member on the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
Mr. Crowe, did you want to speak, or did you want me to go ahead and just acknowledge what we're doing here? Okay.
Please.
So just 1 or 2 meetings ago, the board approved April McLaughlin as an alternate to the Board of Zoning Adjustment. And because of the vacancy for Jennifer Peters is moving out of the city limits. And so as such, she is coming off of the Board of Zoning Adjustments, for at least for the time being. She hopes to move back into the city, and she hopes to then be reappointed to the Board of Zoning Adjustments because she really enjoys that role. But in the meantime, because we always have to have a quorum on our citizen boards in order to get business done, we wanted to go ahead and move Ms. McLaughlin into a permanent position on the Board of Zoning Adjustments. So with that, that's my recommendation, and I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve the McLaughlin to Board of Zoning Adjustments.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Turner with a second from Alderman Franklin. Roll call, please.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Mills,
Aye.
Alderman Zarin.
Aye.
Thank you. Council Bill 09 becomes resolution 2021-08. Council Bill 10.
Council Bill 10 is a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, approving the appointment of Sandy Franklin as Alderman Liaison to the Park Board.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge Alderman Turner and his service to the Park Board and his gracious suggestion to me that he would come off of that role and allow Mrs. Franklin to fill that position because she just came off of the Park Board when she joined us here on the Board of Aldermen. And Alderman Turner said, I know how much Alderman Franklin enjoyed working on the Park Board, so he was gracious enough to step down and allow Alderman Franklin to step in. So that's my recommendation. Do either of you have any comments to make? You may certainly do so if you do. Use your microphone, speak in your microphone. Sorry.
I appreciated that calling me the other day and talking to me about that, so I appreciate that gesture. Thank you.
All right, so I entertain a motion then to approve Alderman Franklin as board liaison to the park board.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Davidson with a second from Alderman Turner. Roll call, please.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Mills,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Zaring.
Aye.
Thank you. Council Bill 10 becomes Resolution 2021-09. Council Bill 11.
Council Bill 011 is a resolution of the Board of Aldermen. Council Bill 011 is a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville authorizing the mayor and city administrator to enter into a real estate donation contract with HB Investors LLC regarding the donation of land in the Glen Eagle subdivision for construction of a regional stormwater detention basin.
I'll start and then I'll give it to Roger real quick.
Mr. Rapp.
So as you all know, since last year we had the discussion with the Corps of Engineers. I know that they had outlined in the south, there were two major impacts that we could help with the south flooding. One was the most impactful was that we would do a regional detention to the southeast of that area, which was right in the midst of where the Glen Eagle subdivision was planned. The second was what we're going to be doing with the dredging of Luna and the repairs that we're doing at City Lake as the second portion of that. So since probably March, the first meeting the mayor and I had, a meeting with Dan Whitney, who's I think here tonight over the podium, who represents the landowners of that development. And he has graciously been working back and forth with those owners to the city. And as of tonight, and that Roger will go over with you, this is a donation of that land for the regional detention basin that would be placed in there that you all approved funding for to be completed. I want to re-emphasize donation of land because there's some stories out there that we're buying the land. We're not buying the land. The land is being donated to the city to build this retention. Go ahead, Mr. Crowe.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Alex Fazine and the city attorney's office, and also Dan. This has been an exercise in persistence getting this done. As Brad said, this is a donation of 28 acres for the regional retention. You may recall that in October, you authorized certificates of participation to pay for this and several other projects. In December, you approved the 5-year capital improvements plan, of which this is one project. So this is the third step in seeing the retention basin eventually get built. The owners would be donating the 28 acres. There are some things that were in some past development agreements that were approved 15 years ago that are really no longer applicable. There's some fees that they've asked us to put in there that we would give up. We probably wouldn't have been getting a lot of these fees anyway because, we have a moratorium on fees for the next 25 building permits. And I think some of these, based upon inquiries that we got from the real estate community, some of these permits will be issued under the 25 moratorium. So with that, we will be getting the 28 acres and starting the design. We've already done preliminary design, and we'll start getting into final design. Happy to answer any questions.
Does the board have questions of Mr. Crowe or Mr. Ratliff or Mr. Whitney? I would just say, most of the members of this board remember the floods of 2017 and 2019 following those 500-year rains. And I know that staff and this board have worked diligently for months alongside the Army Corps of Engineers once they completed their modeling study. And as Mr. Ratliff said, two of the recommendations that they made as possible remedies to reduce and address the flooding problem down south were lowering the level of the lake and installing the detention basin in Glen Eagle. Through the certificates of participation that were approved by this board, those sewer projects and stormwater projects are now underway. And as your mayor, I can't tell you how proud that makes me of you for the decisions that you've made and the steps that you've taken to make this happen. So I am beyond thrilled to be able to bring this resolution to the board tonight. And Mr. Whitney, I want to thank you. We've worked together for months. You and I first were introduced to each other even before I became mayor when I was still an alderman. And so it gives me personal gratitude to you and to Mr. White and the other owners of the property for your generosity in donating this land to the city, both because it will make an impact in minimizing some of the flooding concerns that we have, and I think it will be a lovely amenity for people who are going to live out in the Glen Eagle subdivision. So thank you for your work and hanging in there with us. Okay, board, anybody else have questions on any of this? All right, I entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Davidson with a second from Alderman Dorhoff. May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Reese.
Aye.
Alderman Davidson.
Aye.
Alderman Franklin.
Aye.
Alderman Mills.
Aye.
Alderman Milner.
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff.
Aye.
Alderman Zaring.
Aye.
Thank you. Council Bill 11 becomes Resolution 2021-010. Public hearing, Mr. Crowe.
Yes, this item comes to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission. You may recall that last year we annexed, after receiving a voluntary application, annexed 30 acres that was owned by Sapp Brothers, Inc. The next step after you annex property is to zone it. We have assigned a C2 zoning or general commercial, which is the same zoning that Love's has at I-49 and I-49 and Commercial Street. On page 138 is a map that kind of shows that this is going to be commercial, kind of a hub of commercial zoning surrounded by industrial zoning. So it'll provide not only all the gasoline to everybody going to and from the lake, but commercial services to businesses that are located now in the industrial park and will be in the future. With us this evening is Bernadette, is the new general manager of Sapp Brothers. She and her husband are both here. So I'd like to introduce Bernadette Goodman.
Welcome.
Welcome and congratulations on your new role with Sapp Brothers. We look forward to working with you.
Yeah, nice to meet you all.
People from our area go to Florida and Texas for warm weather. Bernadette and her husband have come here from Minot, North Dakota. With that, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are you ready for me to open the public hearing? Okay. At this point, I would open the public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board about this, please step forward to the podium. Seeing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing. Council Bill 12.
Council 012 is an ordinance of the City of Harrisonville, Cass County, Missouri, approving the zoning of 30.35 acres owned by Sapp Brothers Incorporated to C2 Services Business District zoning, which is located south of 275th Street and west of the U.S. Interstate 49, and establishing an effective date. First reading of House Bill 012.
Does the board have any items for discussion or questions before we move on this? This is an ordinance.
Make a motion to suspend the second reading. Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Alderman Dormoff with a second from Alderman Davidson to suspend the ruling on Council Bill 12 and advance it to a second reading. May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Mills,
Aye.
Alderman Zaring.
Aye.
Thank you. Second reading.
Council, excuse me, Council Bill 012 is an ordinance of City of Harrisonville, Cass County, Missouri, approving the zoning of 30.35 acres owned by Sapp Brothers Incorporated as C2 Services Business District zoning, which is located south of 275th Street and west of US Interstate 49, and establishing an effective date. Second reading of Council Bill 012.
And roll call again, please.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Mills,
Aye.
Alderman Zaring.
Aye.
Thank you. Council Bill 12 becomes ordinance 3529. Now we have another public hearing. Mr. Crowe?
Yes, you may recall that we adopted a moratorium to take a look at our regulations regarding mini warehouses after we received inquiries about some of our prime sites. People were interested in prime commercial C2 sites that would be great sites for companies that would create jobs and capital investment, sales tax revenue to support the essential services that we provide. We have studied a number of the regulations of communities around us and come back with these recommendations. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of these changes regarding mini warehouses. They are listed in the staff report on page 152, but let me just hit the high points. Many warehouses have been permitted by right in the C2 zoning district, which is the majority of the zoning along our commercial corridors, 291, commercial street north and south. What this ordinance proposes is instead of the many warehouses being permitted by right, they would be permitted as special use permits. And they would be permitted in the C2 district, but in the C2 district with a special use permit, but along our most important commercial corridors, 291 Commercial Street, and I've listed a couple others in here, they would need to be set back 250 feet. And the reason for that is that we think that in land that's behind businesses that may line Mechanic Street, for example, or 291, there are sites that are appropriate for many warehouses in the C2 district, but not the first tier row of businesses that would be on those primary corridors. And I've listed the streets in here. There's about 5 or 6 of them where they would need to be set back. And then we are also adding the M1 district. They've not been allowed in M1 in the past, but we think that there's sites in the M1, the light industrial area, where they would be appropriate. And so we're saying that they would be allowed as a special use permit in those areas. They would not have to be set back 250 feet in the M1 zoning district. A couple more points just to highlight is they would have to be screened on all 4 sides in the commercial district so that they didn't pull down the value of any commercial businesses that would be next to them. In the M1 district, they would only have to be screened on the sides that are visible from the public right of way. They could be no larger than 2 acres in size, each project. Right now, we've got, I think, one existing mini warehouse project that's larger than 2 acres. The rest of them are around 1 to 2 acres in size. If a piece of ground was being split off, a 2-acre piece of ground or smaller was being split off for a mini warehouse project, we also have a stipulation in here that it couldn't be done, or it would have to be done in a way that it didn't take away access to a larger tract. And this is our concern is we don't want, particularly in the M1 zoning district, to have 2-acre mini warehouses taking away prime economic development sites. And so it would have to be situated on the property so that future businesses can still access those sites. I guess those are the major points. Be happy to answer any questions. Oh, and again, this does come to you with a unanimous recommendation of approval.
Alderman Mills?
Is the new storage facility next to Casey's and the car wash, is that a mini storage, a mini warehouse?
No.
Okay,
That would not be defined. That would be defined as a warehouse.
okay. And then there was reference in some material about the parking lot of the old Walmart. Is that why that was shut down?
No, I don't think, we did get an inquiry about that, but I don't think that was the reason it was shut down.
Okay. And then mini warehouse is the same as mini storage?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, because the ordinance on 158 goes back to mini storage.
Yeah,
So we wanted warehouse. Okay.
we'll make that consistent. I guess, I thought of one other thing that I need to mention. You know, the moratorium, we exempted 2 projects that have been in process. We didn't think it would be fair to subject them to these regulations. This ordinance would also exempt them from these requirements. They've been meeting with us and they will be coming in, but they would come in under the old requirements, not the new requirements. And based upon where they are coming in, behind the first row of businesses on Canyon Street to the north side, I don't think it will be any problem.
For the sake of the 2 new aldermen on this board, you might also mention that the board did do a 90-day moratorium to allow time for the planning and zoning to review the request and for the public hearing and for this board to hear it tonight. So, yeah, the old board is familiar with this. Alderman Franklin and Alderman Mills probably were not aware that we had addressed it as a temporary measure until we could enact legislation to actually not allow them in certain areas of the city. So, does anyone have any questions? May I open the public hearing? I'll open the public hearing at this time. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the board about the issue before us, please step to the podium. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. So we'll move on to Council Bill 13.
Council Bill 013 is an ordinance of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, amending Chapter 405 zoning regulations regarding mini storage facilities for certain Council Bill 013.
Thank you. Does anyone have any further questions or discussion for Mr. Crowe? I'm very pleased that we're getting this taken care of tonight. Anyone? Okay, it is an ordinance, so I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we move the Council Bill 13 to the second reading.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Alderman Turner with a second from Alderman Milner to suspend the ruling on Council Bill 13 and advance it to a second reading. Roll call, please.
Alderman Mills.
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff.
Aye.
Alderman Milner.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Franklin.
Aye.
Alderman Davidson.
Aye.
Alderman Reese.
Aye.
Alderman Zaring.
Aye.
Thank you. Second reading, please.
Council Bill 013 is an ordinance of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, regarding amending Chapter 405 zoning regulations regarding mini storage facilities. Second reading, Council Bill 013.
And a roll call again, please.
Alderman Mills.
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff.
Aye.
Alderman Milner.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Franklin.
Aye.
Alderman Davidson.
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Zarin.
Aye.
Thank you. Council Bill 13 becomes ordinance 3530. Council Bill 14.
Council Bill 014 is an ordinance to approve the final plat of Twin Oaks Estates resurvey lots 1 and 2 in the city of Harrisonville, Cass County, Missouri. First reading, Council Bill 014.
Mr. Crowe, you're getting a workout with this, aren't you?
Yes, if you might want to turn to pages 179 and 180 in your, scroll down to those pages in your packet, 179 and 180. This ordinance, this plat, and the two that follow are companion and go together. The Koch Family Trust auctioned off 6.7 acres west of Bird Street, south end of Stella Street, north of Lauren Avenue in the fall. And 6 property owners are buying it that surround this property, which is an island totally surrounded by homes. And the property owners want to purchase the property, divide it up 6 ways, add it to the back of their lots. Being this is floodplain, it's not developable. We're thrilled that the homeowners are wanting to do this. They think that they can manage it better, and oversee it better than could absentee landlords. So the planning commission is unanimously recommending approval of these 3 plats.
Does the board have any questions?
And Daniel Stewart, the surveyor, is in the audience with us.
It's not come in. Welcome. You worked hard on this, didn't you?
Yes, it was part of the work.
Yes. Okay, well, Council Bill 14 is an ordinance, so I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to suspend the rules with Council Bill 14 to the second reading.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Alderman Turner with a second from Alderman Milner to suspend the rule on Council Bill 14 and move it to a second reading. Roll call, please.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Mills,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Zarin.
Aye.
Thank you. Second reading.
Council Bill 014 is an ordinance to approve the final plat of Twin Oaks Estates resurvey lots 1 and 2 in the city of Harrisonville, Cass County, Missouri. Second reading, Council Bill 014.
And roll call.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Mills, Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Zarin.
Aye.
Thank you. Council Bill 14 becomes ordinance 3531. Council Bill 15.
Council Bill 015 is an ordinance to approve the final plat of Beckerdites Edition number 4, resurvey number 2, lots 4 and 11 in the city of Harrisonville, Cass County, Missouri. First reading, Council Bill 015.
So this is the second property that Mr. Crowe was talking about. You're looking for a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Milner with a second from Alderman Dorhoff to suspend the rule on Council Bill 15 and advance it to a second reading. Roll call.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Mills,
Aye.
Alderman Zarin.
Aye.
Thank you. Second reading.
Council Bill 015 is an ordinance to approve the final plat of Beckerdites Edition number 4, resurvey number 2, lots 4 and 11 in the city of Harrisonville, Cass County, Missouri. Second reading, Council Bill 015.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Mills,
Aye.
Alderman Zarin.
Aye.
you. Council Bill 15 becomes ordinance 3532. Council Bill 16.
Council Bill 16 is an ordinance to approve the final plat of Coke subdivision resurvey lots 8 and 9 in the city of Harrisonville, Cass County, Missouri, pursuant to Council Bill 016.
Thank you. So this is the third parcel of property. I entertain a motion.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and go into second reading.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Dorhoff with a second from Alderman Reese. Was that you?
Yes.
Okay. A second from Alderman Reese. Roll call, please.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Mills,
Aye.
and Alderman Zarin.
Aye.
Thank you. Second reading.
Council Bill 016 is an ordinance to approve the final plat of Coke subdivision resurvey lots 8 and 9 in the city of Harrisonville, Cass County, Missouri, second to Council Bill 016.
And roll call, please.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Zarin,
Aye.
Alderman Franklin,
Aye.
Alderman Dorhoff,
Aye.
Alderman Milner,
Aye.
Alderman Davidson,
Aye.
Alderman Mills.
Thank you. Council Bill 16 becomes ordinance 3533. Alderman and committee reports. Alderman Dorhoff.
I do not have anything this evening.
Alderman Zarin.
Madam Mayor, I have nothing at this time, thank you.
You're welcome. Alderman Reese.
Yeah, I'd just like to say it's really nice to be back out here. See one another's faces. It's such a nice representation in the audience. I'm also happy that we are getting more of the COVID vaccine in Harrisonville, and a lot of people are getting that vaccine. That is thrilling to me. And I just wish everybody safe journeys. Thank you.
Still looking at Ward 2. Alderman Milner.
I have nothing this evening.
Alderman Franklin.
I would like to,
Your microphone. Okay. For one thing, I would like to thank the city administrator, Brad Ratliff, for taking the time to speak with me on January 14th. I went in, kind of got to know him and how things operate, and I let him know about some issues that I had in Ward 3 when I was campaigning. And the very next morning, I had a phone call from Tina Russo, who was in Ward 3 on Highland, and she was thrilled to death that they were out there putting in a street light, and they were changing lights, and they were taking care of the culvert, and not to mention hers, but everybody else's. They went out and they cleaned out the ditches and made it so that the water would go down because they had some flooding issues. So she was thrilled to death. So that was Friday was a good day. And we also had a dog barking incident, which Lieutenant Osterberg and the animal control officer went out and talked with the neighbors. And it looks like we might have a resolve and an understanding there. I checked back with them today, and things have kind of settled down, so we don't have too much of the heated argument going on in there anymore. So I just wanted to thank you again for your help. I appreciate your time. So. Thank you, Alderman Mills.
I just want, on this Coke thing we just did, I just want to commend whoever brought those neighbors together. That's quite a feat. So there's got to be a local resident or, okay, so that's, to get 6 families together to accomplish that thing, that's, I think that's something. And then I was informed today by the Country Club Bank that they're closing the facility on 291. At the end of the month, they'll be moving their employees south end of town, and currently it's their objective to put the property up for sale. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Alderman Davidson.
Nothing, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Alderman Turner.
I stepped down, so I'm Alderman Miller could be the liaison because he had to resign off the park board. And Alderman Franklin's same way. She was on the park board. She really enjoyed it. She was very instrumental in the dog park. Very involved. And I did it for a few years, so I didn't mind stepping down and let her take over, and so she can continue to share the passion for parks. Then as far as the parks, we're moving forward. We've got the bids and stuff. Moving forward, making the weather for the outdoor pool. It is on track. Hopefully, the weather so far has been good, so hoping we can start sooner than later and not have much of a delayed opening. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Ratliff?
Yes, ma'am. Unlike what Alderman Reese said, it's good to be able to see everybody's faces and get to bump elbows. So Public Works out at the airport, we added some rock to the Life Flight South parking lot. All hangars are full. We have 15 on a waiting list, 7 on the outside tie-down spots are available. So if we have 15 on the waiting list for inside and 7 that are open on the outside, they want to go inside. During the last report, we did a 16,000 linear feet of crack seal on the runway, and we planned a stormwater and sidewalk project on South King Street, and everything is ready to begin on that. City staff started assembling the crosswalk flasher devices for the South Street at Bouch Street, and wayfinders are being replaced at Locust and Jefferson Parkway, and North Independence Street and Nash Street due to some damage by sunlight. We had this last month 37 on the utility shutoffs, which is around our average. City staff met with the representatives of MDNR about sampling traces down at the wastewater treatment facility, and that went really well for that test. The outdoor pool that Alderman Turner was speaking about, we found the cost of the contractor's proposal to be fair and reasonable, $655,332.20. We didn't round it up. Then the Lake Harrisonville dam and spillway has been inspected by MDNR, and we'll have a following report on that. The MDNR dam inspector reported that the city staff did a great job clearing the vegetation off the lake side of the dam. That was one of the things they wanted to make sure we got done by the time of inspection. Then Lieutenant Murray and Chief Hofer are meeting with vendor to regarding our upcoming purchase for the replacement of our dash and body cam system. And hopefully we'll be moving forward with that project here soon. We also received 4 submissions for the 2020 Officer Employee of the Year for 2020. And the police department, a lot of, if you don't know, the Elks Club is involved with that and those nominations. And so we're happy to see him nominating our officers. On the Parks and Rec, if afterward Grant wants to show you on his phone, he looked at some of the new equipment that we'll be possibly putting in with the community center. It was pretty neat, the kind of technology he found today that we'll be placing in there. Then met with our new park board member, Kim Troby, and then staff's been meeting with the South Metro Recreational Group to discuss the basketball and spring sports. We're hoping we get that back on track from all the events of COVID. Flint Roofing repaired the leak here at the community center back on January 29th. And then for finance staff and utility staff and all staff, Encode 10 is getting ready to update, and it's starting tomorrow. You look at Jeremy, he's turning white-headed, and so they're getting ready to do that upgrade. At the same time, they closed out the year-end budget, prepared for the 2020 audit. And then this past week, staff went through, department heads and the staff went through they used to be called PDQs, they've changed them out to PAQs, which is for every position of the city. So the staff have contracted with that third arm of Baker Tilly that does staff reviews, comp studies all over the nation. And one of the things that they'll be doing is updating all of the job descriptions within the city, making sure we're compliant on all the regulations for exempt and non-exempt, as well as it's going to be heavily involved with the staff because they're having to input the data on their job and day-to-day duties and percentages and those type of activities. And then they will do the comp study based upon positions of like size and compatibility and marketability. And so hopefully we'll be able to bring that to the board and give you all that presentation around March or April, 1st of April at the earliest or at the latest on that. And then the Aldi store project is working forward, and foundation walls and site utilities and underslab rough ends. I think if you all recall a few weeks back, Daniel had shared with you all that post, social media post about Aldi's breaking ground was one of the biggest pushes of positive comments that the city has seen in a long time. So we shared that data with Aldi's about the community being excited and coming to our community. So that's continuing to move forward. We've had 6 new commercial occupancy permits to date. The plan review on the school district projects is underway, and building plan review for the Cass County Career Center Elementary School is complete, as well as the early childhood and middle school and civil plan review of all 4 projects are underway. We're also in the midst of the alterations and additions project review of the Walmart Distribution Center. If you all remember, they're doing $3.4 million upgrade at the distribution center and about almost $2 million at the remodel at the retail store. Then thus far this day, we've had 108 inspections, 95 code enforcement, and then we've had some downtown. So I was in a meeting earlier today, and someone wanted to know what was going on over Lexington because they were taking out the bricks on the front of Lexington, and the exact words, what did OB, the exact words are, they got sledgehammers out there knocking out the bricks. And that is part of that review, and I can share that with anyone that the Historical Preservation Board had approved, and that is that big upgrade that's being done to that building. So if you hear about over there on Lexington, that they are improving that facade that's been approved by the Historical Preservation Board. And then on Independence, there'll be a street level paint sign that'll be going up on that building there at 104 North Independence. And then staff are in the midst of also goal setting for the year. So all the department heads have received their goals. They are giving their managers goals, the managers giving the staff goals, and that's wrapping up here this week so that staff will begin moving forward on the performance goals based on a lot of the goals that you all have set already for me. We do that without the organization, and staff are all moving in the same direction. So with that, Madam Mayor, I think that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Anybody have questions for Mr. Ratliff or his report? Questions from the media? Nothing from the media, welcome. You know, it is nice to see each other, and I wanted us to have a live meeting just to honor Donna Bouch tonight. I wanted to make sure we were able to give her her award and be able to do that in person. We will, however, return to Zoom meetings, you know, as of our next Board of Aldermen meeting. I would like to ask you to make a note on your calendars that that next meeting is going to be another Tuesday night meeting. It'll be February 16th instead of Monday night because that's President's Day, so offices will be closed. So our next meeting will be on February 16th. Alderman Reese addressed the opportunity for additional COVID vaccine to be available here in Cass County. I just want to share with the board and share with the audience and share with people that are watching via the internet that the posting today is that Cass Regional Medical Center does have vaccine available. They've been approved as a location for people to get vaccine. What they're saying is for us to continue to register through the Cass County Health Department, and then they are utilizing that list to contact people as they have vaccine available. They expect another shipment February 8th and continuing shipments following that. So anyone who wants the vaccine should register through the Cass County Health Department website, even though your vaccine will be given at Cass Regional Medical Center. Apparently the health department still does not have their vaccine. I have my appointment scheduled for this coming Friday, and I'm excited to be able to get shot number 1. I've watched the COVID numbers. They're starting to trend down a little bit in Cass County, but I would say, you know, let's not let our guard down because we've got another big event coming up this weekend. I'm not sure what that is, but Chiefs fans know what that is. So that being said, that's all I have. I would entertain a motion to adjourn, and I'm going to ask the board if you would remain here. We're going to go ahead and launch right into our work session with our electric superintendent, and then we'll have a slight break between that and the executive session, and we will be meeting in this room for the executive session. So now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
Make a motion to adjourn. Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Davidson with a second from Alderman Turner to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Good night.